Oi oi, hello there and welcome to this Whiteboard Wednesday video. It's David Duffett here at Let the Geek Speak, and I've got a big gift for you today. I want to give you an amazing way to finish your presentations, because the beginning and ending of any presentation are the most important places. We can deal with beginnings another time. Today is about endings, and it's a powerful closing formula I call QS3 that you can take and make your own to finish your presentations in a powerful way. But before we get to that, I'd just like to hark back to a recent video I made. I think it might have been a flip chart Friday, and it was all about knowing and understanding the attention span of your audience in order to put it to use and really drive home powerfully the main points you wanted to make. And you might remember, if you've seen that video, I used an acronym of PROOF. Now, if you've not seen that video, it's very easy to find. You can go and see it in the Let the Geek Speak YouTube channel, and it will have the word PROOF very prominently displayed in the title, so it'll be very easy for you to locate. But by way of a recap, here's what PROOF stood for. P was for primacy, the beginning of your presentation. R was for recency, the ending of your presentation. The first O was for overemphasis, finding a way to labour or repeat certain points so they stick in the audience's mind. The second O was for outstanding, find other ways to make other points outstanding, maybe by using a demonstration to drive home a certain point, or introducing a video or something like that. And then the F was for familiarity. This was all about taking things that the audience already knows and understands and using them to make the introduction of a new idea more digestible. I'm sure you'll agree, it's much easier to assimilate something new if we can ally it to something that we already know and understand. So that was proof. And of course, the beginning and the ending of a presentation really are the prime time as far as your audience's attention span is concerned. Now, did you know that the first ad in a TV ad break and the last ad in a TV ad break cost more than the others? Because it's the first and the last. Have you noticed that you'll remember the beginning of a movie and the end of a movie, but not necessarily everything else that happens in the movie? Have you ever watched a news programme and noticed the way that they start with the headlines, they then go through the main stories, and then they pretty much finish by summarising the headlines again? In other words, they're making use of the beginning and the end because those are the key parts of the presentation. So we've got the beginning and the end, and what we find is that your audience's attention is naturally peaked at the beginning because they're full of anticipation about what you're going to say, but it tends to die down a little bit and then comes back up at the end. So you get this kind of dip. Now, that dip is where you can use the OOF of proof, the overemphasis, the outstanding and familiarity, to buy extra attention here and pique the audience's attention in other places by using the outstanding, the overemphasis and the familiarity. But the beginning and ending, you can't minimise the fact that they are the key parts of the presentation. And while we can talk about beginnings in another video, I want to home in at the end and use this powerful formula called QS3 to give a perfect ending to a presentation. So, what does the QS3 mean? Have you noticed that some presentations, maybe presentations that you've given or that you've witnessed, finish a little bit like this? Well, that's really all I've got to say. Any questions? Not inspiring, is it? The presentation kind of dies, it wimps out. It doesn't end with a bang like good presentations should. And this can be particularly true in a conference scenario if there's a chair or an MC who, you know, when you come to the end of your presentation, say, oh, round of applause for David. Now, any questions for him? And that is not a powerful way to end a presentation. We do want to deal with questions from the audience if we've got time to do that. We definitely want to do that because it's a part of the interaction. We should be going for as much interaction with the audience as we can possibly have, and Q&A can be part of that. But what I'm going to suggest is go for questions before your summary. So, as you come to the end of the main body of your presentation, you can say to your audience, I'm about to summarise the absolute key points for you to take home with you today. But before I do that, what questions have you got for me? And then the audience can ask their questions and you can deal with their questions. And when you run out of questions or you run out of the amount of time that you'd budgeted for dealing with Q&A, you can then go on to deliver the summary, the main points of your presentation. And then to finish with a real bang, you can go with a 3. You can finish with a 3. 3s are very important in presentations. I'm not entirely sure why the number 3 is so key. It just is. I'm sure there's some science somewhere around it. But let me give you an example of what I mean by finishing with a 3. So if I've been talking about health and safety at work and going through a new work process, I might say something like, thank you very much for giving your full attention today. It's very important that you adopt this new work process. It's very important that you study the documentation we're giving you. And of course, it's very important to maintain our 100% health and safety record here at Smith & Sons. Thank you very much. Boom. And you finish your presentation. So finishing with a 3. So QS3, take the questions after the main body of the presentation, but before the summary, then have your summary, and then finish with a 3. This is a very powerful way to finish a presentation, to come to a hard stop with you in control. And if you deliver the 3 in the right way, it will almost guarantee a rapturous round of applause. I'm not promising a standing ovation, but you never know. Anyway, thank you very much for your time and attention today. It's been a pleasure going through another set of hints and tips about how you can make your presentations better. It's been a pleasure explaining some of the reasoning below those hints and tips, but I know it will be a pleasure for you when you put these things to work and reap the rewards of being a geek that can speak. Thank you.